I didn't hold myself back because I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And every issue that I encountered, I had to learn how to figure it out. It has to be a nonprofit. Okay, you have to figure out how to legally, make a nonprofit. There's liability issues. You need to learn, the legal terms for that. You have to do accounting. You have to do this. You have to do that. Like everything that I encountered, if you had put that in front of me and said, this is what you're going to do, I would have said, no, I am not doing that. I don't know why you think I'd be the girl to do it. But I'm glad. I'm glad I didn't see it for what it became because I would have talked myself out of it.
Isan, welcome to From Vision to Creation. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this with me today.
No, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to like dig in and chat and go through everything.
Well, it really is such a pleasure to have you here. You've become one of the most exciting new voices at the intersection of beauty, culture, and purpose, not just creating, but truly reshaping the system, which I think is amazing. In just the last couple of years, you've built Beauty Access and Beauty Forward into a movement that's turning excess into dignity and proving what circular beauty can look like at scale. From your work with women in need to the tech you've built, the impact is already extraordinary. And I'm really excited to dive into your journey, your vision, and the future you're creating.
Yeah, thank you. No, it's so fun to listen to people's kind of like perception of what I've been doing because I'm so in the thick of it. So hearing you kind of recite that back is so interesting because I'm always like I always think of myself as like a work in progress. And it's hard to take a step back and say like, oh no, you've done this and it's actually out there for people to perceive.
I love that it's so true. When you hear somebody reciting it back to you, you're like, wait, that's me?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, I'm like, who are you talking about?
I love that. Well, Ifan, I want to go back.
Mhm.
I want to go way back, actually. Let's go back to your childhood because I know that you started out as a content creator. At what moment in your life did you realize that you felt passionate about, sharing your life with the internet?
Mhm. Oh my goodness. I've always been adjacent to the film industry and entertainment industry. So for me, I think I've never had this it never felt like oh, I want to put myself out there. I just kind of felt like that was my closest uh ideology, I guess you could say, to creating an art. Like creating an art is about putting yourself out there. And so as a young person, I mean, I've had followers on Instagram since I was, like I don't know, maybe ninth grade. And not the greatest. I don't think everybody would want like a trail of, posts from when they were in ninth grade. Definitely some questionable outfits and such, but I think what it helps me do is become a better storyteller, and really understand this world of digital. When you think about literally anything, you think about how do you put digital storytelling within that as well. Um, and that's why I think I've been able to kind of implement it into every single thing that I do up until now.
I love that. And it's so true, right? Like when you get the Facebook memories or the Snapchat memories, you're like, please don't, guys.
Yeah.
Let's not go there.
Let's not talk about it. Let's just pretend that didn't happen. But it was good like practice for me, I will say.
So you started out as a content creator at a very young age. What do you remember feeling the first time when you started receiving PR packages and they were all arriving at your home and you started to realize that all of these products were really building up
Mhm.
in your home? Because I even remember you mentioning in an interview that you felt like your place ended up looking like a mini Sephora because of all of the products
Yes.
that you were receiving.
Yeah.
Can you take us back to the time when that started happening before the problem behind the excess revealed itself?
Mhm. I can't even think about the first time that I ever got a PR package, but when I think about that time before I realized there was a problem, it was the coolest thing about the job one, free stuff. Who doesn't like free things? And not only is it free stuff, but it's also like free stuff that I would want to like save up and buy for myself. So it
Mhm.
was just this like beautiful sense of um connection and like feeling like, oh, okay, I'm like doing it. Like I'm getting PR packages. And about 2 years ago ish, a year and a half ago is when I really started to get to a point of overwhelm. Um, and it was confusing for me because I am the first person to say, like, I am so grateful for this. I can't believe that, this is even my reality. And I was finding myself like complaining about the thing that I also thought was a blessing. And I realized that it wasn't a blessing. It was just the fact that like it's not humanly possible to use all the products that I was getting for myself, for anybody. And even when it came to giving away products to my friends and my family, like there was only so much I could give away. And then I sat there and I thought about the products that I wasn't ever going to use, and I knew I wasn't going to use them. I couldn't bring myself to throw them away, and they just sat there. And I felt even more bad that like I didn't know where to give them, and I knew that there would be people who would love these products. And so when I was really looking for options for donating and giving these products away, I was really left like with kind of a question mark.
So that's actually a really interesting dilemma that you're coming across, and one that you didn't even really anticipate, because it's true. You think, yay, free product and things that you actually want to save up and buy. But at a certain point, you start thinking like again, I think you phrased it perfectly. When you see your place is turning into a mini Sephora,
Mhm.
you start to think, oh God, well, what am I going to do about this? And is the problem larger? Which I think it's really interesting that you thought about that, because nobody really has. Nobody's really addressed this problem before.
Mhm.
So, at what point after identifying this issue did you realize that this was a systemic industry problem
Mhm.
that needed a solution?
Yeah. Asking friends, like, what do you do with your products? Going over to their house. One of my friends, I went over to her house. I'm not kidding when I say her whole living room wall was filled with PR boxes. And I just said to her, what are you doing with this? Like, what are you going to do? And she's like, I don't know. Like, I'll think about it later. And I hate complaining about things and not having a solution. And it really bothered me. Like, just something in my head was like, I hate this. Like, I hate that I really don't know where to get these things to. Um,
Mhm.
and I think that that led me to really doubling down on like, how do I give these to shelters? And I think if you have one to two, three, maybe 10 products, it's a lot easier for you to go into a shelter, give it to them. But we're talking about, one creator has given us 3,000 products that are unused and unopened. She would never use them. So when I was talking to the shelters about, hey, I have a lot of stuff. Can I, give those to you? It was kind of we're not really sure, because it's a lot of work for them to sort through all the products and actually make sure that they're safe. So that was an issue that I was coming across with the shelters. And then I thought, well, that's not fair. Like, I think that they should be able to give these products, but I don't want to, it's not fair that it's a burden on them to do that. So, what would be a way that I could help and I could give the products and make it easier for them to take them? And my brain just kept going and kept going and kept going. And that's really what led to me here was this continuous like problem solving and just taking it a step further of like, okay, what about this? And then what about this? But every time I was trying things, like I never knew where it was going. Like even today, I still think there are so many um, rabbit holes that I go down with, beauty sustainability. Not only is it the products, but it's the packaging and, are refills actually something that's useful and actually cutting down waste? And, marketing spends are a big contribution to that as well. So I think I've just constantly been going down this hill of how do we fix this problem and realizing that it was something way bigger than me or other creators like me.
So what's happening is you encounter a problem and you're say, okay, so let me solve the problem by donating.
Mhm.
And then you encounter another problem and you're like, oh, so now there's a problem about getting it to, into the shelters and ensuring that it's safe.
Yeah.
And I'm sure as you continued down this path, you were encountering more and more problems. So your businesses quite literally have solved the problem from influencers' homes or excess product at beauty distribution and production
Yeah.
companies, all the way to getting it to the people who need them most.
Yeah. I think that it's extremely important to think about all stakeholders. Because I'm a creator, I know what creators like how they would want products to be picked up, and that's why we have a courier system where a creator schedules a pickup, the courier comes to their door, takes the products, brings them to us. And that's something that just makes that's something that you wouldn't think about unless you were a creator yourself.
So, Isan, at 23, launching a tech enabled redistribution system is bold and unconventional, especially at that age. Did anyone try to talk you out of it or tell you that the problem wasn't yours to solve?
Not Nobody tried to talk me out of it. I think it was more so if I really listened to anybody else's thoughts on it that weren't solutions, I would have truly been in a mindset that I couldn't do it. I didn't look at it as in I'm building a tech redistribution system. I saw it as I am putting together some type of concept that could help people and can also get this stuff out of my house. And as I was building that, I have no idea what I'm doing in nonprofit. Like starting a nonprofit is like a thing, which when I went into it, I'm kind of glad I didn't have a lot of knowledge because I didn't hold myself back because I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And every issue that I encountered, I had to learn how to figure it out. It has to be a nonprofit. Okay, you have to figure out how to legally, make a nonprofit. There's liability issues. You need to learn, the legal terms for that. You have to do accounting. You have to do this. You have to do that. Like everything that I encountered, if you had put that in front of me and said, this is what you're going to do, I would have said, no, I am not doing that. I don't know why you think I'd be the girl to do it. But I'm glad. I'm glad I didn't see it for what it became because I would have talked myself out of it. Let alone other people. So I think what I did get told a lot was this aspect of brands don't like the idea of products that they are giving away to be then given away again, not used for the purpose of what it was. But my philosophy is I always try to see the good in people. And I just thought, yeah, I know that's typically not what they would like, but it's going to a good place. It's not like I'm selling it. It's not like I'm giving this to other creators. Like these are people who deserve the products and wouldn't be able to afford it. So if you have a problem with that, I think you have a bigger problem on your hands than me. And I'm so grateful I took that chance because I think we need to give people an opportunity to do good and give them a chance, not just write off that they're going to be against it. And I've had amazing conversations and collaborations with brands. I think if anybody's more into it, it is the brands because it's not just a problem that excludes their point of view. I think I talk to brands and I say, how do you feel about this? What do you think is the best solution for this? Like, we're talking with a very big company right now, which I'm so like, they were kind of I'm scared of, of them if they would be for this idea. But we're talking about the products that they have that they would kind of just have to throw away. And I'm coming up with a solution specifically for them to figure out how we can redistribute those to shelters and other community spaces.
You mentioned earlier, like if you had known how many obstacles were going to be ahead of you, that you wouldn't have done it. But I want to challenge you a little bit because
Mhm.
you have been met with the obstacles and you continued to do it. So
Yeah,
you obviously feel very passionate about this, and this is super
absolutely.
rare. I think just in general, but
Mhm,
certainly at your age, your early 20s,
mhm.
what is it in you that fuels your desire to solve this problem?
I think that we're at a point in the world where everybody just kind of feels like, how do I do good? Like, how do I find something that I'm passionate about and I don't just think of like doom and all the bad things kind of going on in the world. So for me, I was really looking for that outlet. As a content creator, I've absolutely loved my job. I'm privileged that I can do it, but I also know that I don't want to make my whole life surrounded about how I look and my outfits and my makeup looks. I
Mhm.
wanted to take it a bit further and do something that felt meaningful. And when I stumbled across this, I in the beginning, and I say in the beginning, like I don't still do this, but like I wake up, I think about Beauty Forward, I go to sleep, I think about Beauty Forward. Like it is on my mind constantly, and it's not something that upsets me that I think about it all the time. I'm so excited every day to be able to, solve a new problem. Is it a lot sometimes? And I have moments where I'm like, I am over my head. I can't do this. Absolutely, absolutely. But I just think about the bigger picture and I have really big dreams for this. And I kind of look at it as in like, if I'm not going to be the person to do it, like, who's going to do it? Because, like you said in the beginning, I can't believe this hasn't, been invented yet. I also agree. I'm like, why has nobody thought about this? And I'm the person who thought about it. But I'm just grateful that it came to me. And I feel like I am the vehicle that will, at least be an indicator that this is a problem and that we should do something about it.
Isan, what a great answer. And I cannot agree with you more. I think that when you are in a position where you get to do what you're most passionate about and you feel lucky that you get to have your job, I
Mhm.
think that the natural next step, and unfortunately, not everybody takes it, but I think the natural next step is okay, how can I also make a difference in the world, make other
Mhm.
people's lives better?
Yeah.
And I think we're lucky that people like yourself ask that question, but not just ask the question, pursue the answer.
It is one thing to think about it. It's another thing to put it into action. And it really is based on what you're passionate about. I used to kind of be a person who, if I didn't like something, like 2 days later, bored, don't want to do it, like not actually gonna pursue it. Or I'd come up with a million different business ideas, but nothing that just made me feel like, yeah, I actually really want to do this and I want to get up every day and focus on it. And that is where execution comes from. Like you can't force yourself into doing something you don't want to do. And there's parts of this that I don't want to do, but I'm working hard so that I can, give that part to somebody else and then give this part to somebody else. But the only way you're going to be able to do that is by, keeping going.
That is so true. And I feel like when you grow up and you hear you need to be passionate about what you do, it sounds kind of like, okay, sure, like some fluffy
Yes.
little, but it's so true though, because anything that you want to do, if you want to do it at a high level or you want to do it seriously as a career, you're gonna be met with obstacles,
Mhm.
difficult ones. And it takes that passion to get you through.
Mhm. There's always a conversation about failure. And in before I started this journey, failing at something, not being able to be the best at something was my worst nightmare. And I often get asked, how do I find what I'm passionate about? How do I, get to this point where I'm working every day at something that I truly love? And that's just by trying it and understanding that you're not going to be the best at it in the beginning. And maybe it's your passion now, but who says that it won't lead you to your true passion on the other side of it. Like I kind of just have pursued everything that I thought was interesting, until I didn't think it was interesting. And then, it kind of took a back burner, and then I found something out, but it led me to something else that I thought was more interesting. And you just kind of have to keep going. Like I went from content creator to DJ to now having a freaking nonprofit and adding in tech to that. Like I would have never, ever, ever like thought that that was going to happen. So I'm grateful that I kind of just told myself, like, you're not going to be amazing at it, but you better do it.
And Isan, you founded two companies. There's Beauty Access and
Mhm.
Beauty Forward.
Yes.
Can you explain to everyone that's listening what they are and what the difference between the two is?
Yeah, absolutely. So I always say that I've built very publicly because I didn't know what I was doing. And when I first started, it was Beauty Access. And Beauty Access's whole mission is more inclusivity, diversity, and sustainability within the beauty industry. And when I was figuring out, like, how do we create solutions, like actual innovative solutions that tackle all of these problems within the beauty industry, Beauty Forward was that first product. So I kind of call Beauty Access as parent company. If we want to do community events that are, we bring a celebrity makeup artist to come and teach people how to do different, makeup tutorials and such, or if we want to be able to get these excess products out of people's homes into people's hands,
Mhm.
we are kind of this mechanism that creates all of these solutions, from scratch. So that is, I kind of call it like an innovation lab, a test lab. Beauty Access, and then Beauty Forward is our first product, and it's the redistribution system.
Okay. And let's talk about this because
Mhm.
you didn't find an inventory system that fit the challenge. So you built
Yeah.
one, which I love. That's like what this show's about.
Yeah.
What was the most difficult part of creating a tech backbone for a problem the industry has never solved before?
Oh yeah.
Before-
It was definitely not knowing anything about tech. I think there, I am like, when we first started this and realized that tech was like the natural progression to how I solved the issue. And for more practical background, we sort through every single product and we scan it into our system. So we're able to say, what is the brand name? What's the cost of that product? What's the name of that product? Is it an essential product or a non-essential product? And all of that goes into a system that lets us say this shelter needs X, Y, and Z, and this shelter needs X, Y, and Z. If we didn't have that information, we wouldn't really be able to make uh, specific donations that are genuinely useful. I want to make sure that the shelters are actually getting things that they want and not just getting things dumped on them. So when we were looking for a online sorting system that did that, there was literally like nothing. We used this one app and we maxed out of that app, and it was like $500 a month to, add like 100 more products into that. And we get thousands of products. We have thousands of different SKUs of products. So for us to be able to facilitate that and then also say where it's going was just not realistic. So I thought, okay, well, it's either I just like give up and say like, oh, that's never going to happen, or I say like, why don't we try and like make something makeshift? And it's still constantly under development. Like we had a system and it worked. And when we are beta testing, and then we got even more products and we just keep scaling, which is amazing and a great problem to have. But that means that the tech has to get more complicated and we need more systems. And maybe it's easier for us to input every single shelter that we have so that we know what they have and what they don't have and whatever. Like there's so many different pieces to it. So I'd say the biggest part is like constantly having to upgrade and constantly having to learn. But I came from a background of not understanding anything in tech, not even being able to speak the language. And I still don't fully speak the language, but what I do appreciate is the fact that I will make sure that I at least have a realistic idea of what I want. So when I am speaking with engineers about how we're building this, internal app, I'm not making crazy asks. I'm making asks that actually, teach me what's possible and allows them to build what we really need.
And Isan, how does this new technology change the way brands and creators participate in redistribution? And what does it unlock for the future? And the reason I ask is, well, it's several reasons, but I'm really excited to hear what other issues you're going to encounter when building this software and which ones you're going to solve using software. I feel like this could even go in a totally different direction.
The reason why it's so incredibly useful is that a lot of nonprofits get a bunch of different things, but they don't fully know what they have. They'll have like an inventory room and there's a bunch of stuff. And for you to know what's in there, you have to physically go in. Where we have everything digitalized and it's one in and one out. So we're kind of like that middleman that gives you that actual tangible information that makes it so much easier for products to go outwards. So when I think of this, when I talk with brands and when I talk with different, community spaces, the biggest feedback that I get that is so helpful is that information, that data that we collect on the products. And also, if you're a brand and we get creators giving us their PR, we're able to tell a brand, we've gotten X, Y, and Z of your whatever product. Like that's really valuable information for a brand to have. If they know that these products that they're giving away are not actually being used or wanted, then it gives you a better sense of smarter gifting and allowing brands to actually make better decisions. And that also not only just helps creators like myself, but also is more sustainable. You're not just giving out products because you need to fulfill your marketing spend or whatever. You're giving away products with intention and not overloading creators because it gets too much. Sometimes we don't even get asked if we want things and it just shows up on our doorstep and we have to figure out what to do with it. So I think what we really want to do is be able to tell brands, hey, maybe this isn't working the best way, but we actually have thought of the solution that could help you, get your product out there in a easier way for everybody.
Okay. So see, this is really interesting. And it's true. That didn't even occur to me either, that in this data that you're collecting, that it can be useful feedback that can inform a big brand's production strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the most powerful response you've seen from a brand once they've shifted into this mindset that you're talking about?
Yeah, partnership. When having these conversations with brands, I, as a creator, have a lot of relationships with a lot of beauty brands, which I'm so grateful for because that is truly like a huge aspect of why this whole thing really works. And we kind of started out talking with, PR companies because they're the ones who give away a lot of the gifting. But as we continue to have these conversations, I got to meet new and different people within the companies. So it's corporate responsibility sectors, sustainability sectors. Some companies have circular economy leads, and we've been able to talk directly with them and have conversations that are practical and put creators in mind, put social good in mind, and also like what they actually need. Because if you think about it, a lot of brands have products that are perfectly good, but maybe let's say they rebranded this year. So they have 1,000 products that they can't do anything with because they rebranded and they don't want to sell it. Where do you put that? And that's where we come in and we have that conversation of, oh, these are perfectly good. We have a new home for them. We'd love to take those off of your hands. And it's a good solution for them because it takes the work off of their back. And then it's a great solution for us because we need those products to give to our communities.
Mm-hmm. And Isan, you've already collaborated with major names, MAC, Giorgio Armani Beauty, and House Labs by Lady Gaga. which, by the way, I saw in an interview you gave a few years back that you've been a Gaga fan your whole life. What's it like getting to work with these brands, but also specifically with Lady Gaga's brand, being a fan for your whole life?
You like you do not understand. My mom had this black Suzuki, and where she'd take me to school in it every day. And I remember like her Lady Gaga's album. I can't remember which one it was, but it was like one of my first like CD albums that I ever had, and I would play it every single day to school. Like I remember one time I saw her in person and I was bawling my eyes out. So the fact that I even got to collaborate with her brand is insane. And not just that, it's actually a brand that I can get behind. When we had they sponsored my donation drive and pop up cafe. Once again, like that was our second ever event. So it just kind of shows you how I say, oh, I want a pop up cafe. And I didn't know how to do that. I just made one. But the fact that we had so many people who didn't even know I was the person behind it, they had just seen that House Labs was a sponsor of this event and it was a donation drive so they could come in, grab a coffee, and also give away products. And they knew it would go to a good home. The amount of people who came in and said, I love House Labs as a brand, like they have such an inclusive shade range, X, Y, and Z. Like it was really nice because when you're in this game of, working with different brands, like to find someone who truly resonates with your mission and actually executes within their internal like systems, having inclusive shade ranges, cruelty free, and then putting their money where their mouth is and sponsoring this donation drive, like this is what I want to see from brands, and this is a perfect way of showing like we can make sure that everybody wins in this situation. It just takes a little bit, of innovation and further thinking.
You're running two organizations, and one of the most inspiring things about your story is that you're doing it without a business degree or a traditional institutional backing. What has been the most challenging part of leading as a young founder?
Oh my goodness, that's a really good question. Because there's so many parts about it, but I I think it's navigating how to still be 23 and have big dreams. I still want to go out with my friends. I still want to wear cute outfits and take Instagram pictures and go on vacations and party and whatever. But I also have this whole other life where I have employees that I have to take care of, and we're doing our holiday gift drive, and we have to give well over 2,000 gifts to, women in shelters. Like that's a lot for me to kind of think about. So it's been hard trying to balance those two, but I'm grateful because I try to integrate it. For instance, I'll have my friends come to a donation event with me, or when I am talking about my beauty conglomerate, I am wearing a cute outfit that I like, kind of just integrating how I want to show up, and trying to put my best foot forward every day.
Mm-hmm. And you said you've had to walk away from people who cared more about opportunities for themselves
Yeah.
than impact. And I know that when you feel passionately about something and you genuinely want to make the world a better place in your own way, it can be really discouraging when you realize that not everybody feels that way. And oftentimes people are only thinking about themselves. How did you cope with those moments, especially at the beginning? And how have you used those experiences to fuel your desire even further?
Mm. Listen, people are getting exhausted of people who just think about themselves. That's why we aren't obsessed with Instagram as much as we are TikTok. Instagram is more, glamorous, showing what you have, your cars, your house, your whatever. And then TikTok is more think pieces. Like, what do you actually like? What is your intellectual wealth? So I have kind of just accepted that this is the future way of thinking, and people who don't want to help are, not going to be around in a few years because we need to have leaders who actually have something to say, and not even just leaders. We need to have people around us who have something to say and actually something to contribute. And if you are just, focusing on yourself, then what community do you really have?
Mhm.
And that has what has been keeping me sane, honestly. The more people that I've kind of let go that weren't really morally compatible with me, the more people I had met who were.
So, Isan, you in this current model, you have to give away product twice. First, it's either the creator or the business that has excess product. They give it away to your company, and then your company needs to give it away again. How have you guys been working out a model on how you can actually make money so that you can continue to scale your companies?
So that's actually why Beauty Forward is a separate legal entity. I didn't want to bore you with this before, but that's actually why it's a separate legal entity because there is no way that this system would ever be able to stand if we tried to make a profit off of it.
Mhm.
We just need enough money to operate it. And that's why I say like it's built for community. This is something that I'm putting my money into to build, and it's responsibilities of individuals and brands to make sure that this is continuously running. When you think about a lot of different organizations, which we have been able to partner with, they've been looking for this solution and looking for that kind of connector. You're already spending money on giving away products, or brands are already spending money in destroying products, like literally burning them. It costs them money to do that. So what we want to prove is that our solution is, if not the same amount of money, like cheaper to donate them to us and have them redistributed. So when it comes to that, we're really relying on the brands to step up and use this system, and also our community for helping us fund this.
And in addition to it costing the same amount of money, you also get to make an impact and a positive impact in people's lives, which is
Yeah,
incredible.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's on alongside all of your impact work, you also DJ, which I think is so cool and I think speaks to your personality. Um, can you talk to us about that? How'd you get into it?
Yeah, see, I think you're going to see a really common theme here. I accidentally became a DJ. I wanted a hobby 2 years ago, and I thought, okay, my dad is a DJ, and I've always thought I want to learn how to do it. I don't know how to do it, but I want to figure it out. So I got a DJ controller. I had a girl who DJ'd my birthday party the year before come over to my house, teach me twice per week for 3 months. And I say that once you understand the controller and all the buttons on it, that is the first part. Like, that does not make you a good DJ. What makes you a good DJ is your taste. So after she taught me what all the buttons meant, I just started developing my taste, what music I liked, what got a crowd going. And my one of my friends who saw me at like one of my first ever DJ gigs said, "You should meet with this DJ agency. I think they would be really good fit for you." I had only been DJing for like 3, 4 months at that point, so my initial reaction was, "Girl, I don't think, I don't think it's a good idea for me to sign with the agency right now." But as I am a yapper and someone who really brings something into, when I say something, I mean it. I ended up accidentally signing at the end of that, and my career kind of took off from there. I didn't fully know what I was doing, but I put my best foot forward every single time, and I have good music taste, I'd say. So I think as long as you know how to kind of put those two together, you're fine. And as it's been 2 years now, so I've obviously very much developed my flow. And in the beginning, I used to plan out my sets to a T because I didn't want anything to go wrong. And now, throw me up in front of anything, and I'll be able to, make sure that the crowd is happy.
I love that. And how does music fit into your identity as a creative and a leader?
Yeah, I think everybody should have a creative outlet that feels truly like fun. Like it's not stressing you out. Yes, it's my yes, I'm paid to do it, but I always call it my paid hobby. When I'm at a brand event or something, I literally put on my headphones and I just like mix music that I like to listen to. So I'm kind of like giving myself a break. Like I can only think about the buttons on the board and I can only think about what are the other songs that I want to play and having fun with other people. So it's been so incredible. I look forward to DJing because it's that expressive outlet for me. I think music is that for a lot of people. So mine is just in the form of a DJ set.
And what does DJing give you that your entrepreneurial grind doesn't, and vice
Mhm.
versa?
Oh yeah. Um, the cool factor. I think when I tell people I'm a DJ, they're automatically like, "Whoa, that is so cool." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm a DJ." But it's fun because I a lot of the beauty brands that I work with as a creator, as well as for Beauty Forward, I can also DJ their events. So that's really cool. And when there's always parties during Fashion Week and stuff, like the parties that I would naturally go to, now I get to like play my music. It's like going to a party and being able to put on your playlist and also being paid for it. So it's kind of an ideal world for me.
Yes. And Isan, if you had a magic wand to change one thing about how the beauty world operates, not just products, but culture, values, and logistics, what would you change first?
Um, Definitely the issue of overconsumption. When we talk about the beauty industry, and even I do it, I'm guilty of this. I think about products. I think about, a mascara or a face mask, but beauty is not just that. Beauty is your is wellness, is what you're thinking in your mind, what you're putting out to the world. So I would love to stop thinking about it as this consumption of products and start thinking about it as a consumption of knowledge and well-being of entire communities. Because when you feel good, you look good, and when you look good, you feel good. So let's kind of make that all go into one.
I love that, Hassan. What a great answer.
Thank
Um,
you.
and for young visionaries that have aspirations that feel too big, what do you most want them to understand about starting before you feel ready?
Mhm. You're never going to be ready. I all the advice that I was told before this is advice that I give now that I didn't listen to. Like, you're never going to be ready. I was like, yeah, okay, watch me, It feels like, why would I do something if I'm not ready, It's truly that kind of like, don't give up. You're never gonna truly be ready. Like you have to force yourself. You have to want it bad enough because there's not anything in this world that's gonna force you to do what you want to do. You are the only person who can do that. So once you really drill that into your head, that opportunities are not just gonna come to you. You have to make the opportunities yourself. Is when the whole world changes, and then you realize you can truly do anything that you want. The only person who's stopping you is you.
And Hassan, what is the biggest lesson you've learned in life so far?
Believing in myself. Growing up, I wasn't very confident, and I had to force myself into confidence. I had to fake it till I made it. And now I can truly look at myself and look at what I'm doing and be proud of myself and have that confidence that I can do whatever I want, and not being hard on myself if I'm not perfect, not being hard on myself if I make a mistake. I am the first person to admit when I don't know something or if I've made a mistake. And I'm glad because on the other side of that admittance is becoming a better version of myself.
What is the best place for people to keep up with you and your work and get involved?
Yeah, I would say my social channels, which would be my Instagram at Isan Elba on Instagram and TikTok, as well as Beauty Access's Instagram, which is at Beauty Access, as well as our website at beauty-forward.org.
Perfect. Well, I'm going to include all of the URLs in the episode notes. So everybody that's listening, go click them below. And Isan, if you could go back in time and offer your younger self one piece of advice specifically tailored for you and your journey right before you started your career. So let's just say right before you became a content creator, what would you tell yourself?
Enjoy the ride. Yeah. That would be it. Just enjoy life, enjoy everything that's coming towards you. And I know that's like, it feels hard to like let go. And I'm still working on that. I still have to tell myself, like, you don't know what's going to happen on the other side. So you might as well just like let go of that anxiety that makes you feel like you need to know, because you probably will never guess what's going to happen next.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank
This was
you.
fun. I really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you for letting me tell my story. This is my favorite topic in the world. So the fact that you are interested in this makes me so happy.